already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boy. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo versus Crawford is being hailed as the biggest fight of the year, and Teddy Atlas has shared a blunt assessment. Teddy Atlas believes that Terence Crawford possesses all the necessary skills to emerge victorious, regardless of the weight class. Atlas praised Crawford's skill set, discipline, and adaptability, while questioning whether Canelo Alvarez is still the same fighter he once was. He argued that Canelo has lost the hunger and fire that fueled his rise to greatness and pointed to recent performances as signs of decline. Going further, Atlas even suggested that Canelo is overrated when compared to Crawford. For him, Crawford's sharpness, determination, and drive give him the edge heading into this showdown.
That the urgency's not there, the fight is not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm gonna say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen. I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous, but could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. He didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, who has gone toe-to-toe with Terence Crawford, firmly believes that size will not decide the outcome of Crawford's clash with Canelo Alvarez. He argues that Crawford's skill set is on another level and that his ring intelligence makes him far too smart for Canelo. In his view, the difference in weight and natural size cannot overshadow Crawford's superior IQ, adaptability, and timing. Mean Machine describes Crawford as one of the most calculated fighters of his generation, capable of adjusting mid-fight and breaking down opponents no matter their physical advantages. He highlights Crawford's ability to control pace, distance, and rhythm, factors he believes often outweigh sheer size. For him, this fight clearly favors the man with the sharper tools, and that man is Terence Crawford.
No, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boy. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way like when you see like oh he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size and that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be like even faster and like his head was good in the ring. He's like boxing IQ is just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not like I'm just giving an example. Like size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say like oh like Canelo is big and he's fighting like 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from like 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter and like that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just like that. I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not like, and lots of people gain weight like that sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he gained like he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his like his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Um, Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes difference.
Mean Machine draws a striking parallel between the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez showdown and Canelo's 2013 clash with Floyd Mayweather. Back then, a younger, less experienced Canelo was systematically outclassed by Mayweather's speed, defense, and ring IQ. Mean Machine believes Crawford possesses the tools to employ a similar strategy, using movement, accuracy, and sharp counterpunching to neutralize Canelo's strengths. Still, he points out a key difference. Today's Canelo is far more seasoned. Over the years, Alvarez has battled and beaten elite competition, refined his adaptability, and gained the patience that was missing in his loss to Mayweather.
Throw hard, but they don't. They just throw, and he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, like we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo and Canelo. Yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
Mm. From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly.
Mm.
Like they're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Regis Prograis offers a sharply different perspective. The former world champion dismisses the idea that Crawford's punches will trouble a naturally bigger, granite-chin fighter like Canelo Alvarez. He points out that Canelo has taken shots from some of boxing's hardest hitters, men larger than Crawford, and has proven nearly unshakable. Still, Prograis doesn't rule Crawford out entirely. While he doubts the impact of Crawford's power, he fully acknowledges the Nebraska star's ability to win through skill, strategy, and sheer determination. In his view, Crawford's world-class technique, versatility in switching stances, and flawless execution of game plans make him a legitimate threat, even against someone as formidable as Canelo.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You got to look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him trouble, Irislan, DeLaura, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol. They gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is going to respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has shared sparring rounds with Terence Crawford, echoes Regis Prograis' doubts. Vargas admits Crawford is sharp and precise, but maintains he isn't heavy-handed enough to seriously hurt a fighter of Canelo Alvarez's size and durability. Having felt Crawford's punches firsthand, he argues that while they are accurate, they lack the kind of thudding power needed to trouble someone as resilient as Canelo. He notes that Alvarez has already faced and withstood the strength of naturally bigger opponents, which raises doubts about Crawford's ability to generate the same level of danger. Still, Vargas doesn't count Crawford out. He acknowledges that boxing isn't solely about power. Timing, accuracy, and consistency can wear down even the toughest fighters. However, in Vargas' view, Crawford's shots may not carry the weight required to stop Canelo from marching forward with constant pressure.
Gonna be done in camp.
You know, all we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So you know, he's a veteran and he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. Um, I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like,
Mickey Bay takes a more provocative stance, accusing Canelo Alvarez of cherry-picking by agreeing to face Terence Crawford. According to Bay, Alvarez has a history of being selective with opponents, often choosing the right timing or size advantage to tilt the odds in his favor. In this case, Bay argues that Canelo views Crawford as a naturally smaller fighter moving up in weight, making the matchup physically advantageous for him. This perspective has sparked debate in boxing circles, with critics suggesting Alvarez is leveraging his size and strength against a lighter man. Still, Bay stops short of dismissing Crawford, acknowledging that his intelligence, adaptability, and skill set make him too dangerous to overlook. Even if Canelo enters the ring as the bigger fighter, Bay believes Crawford has the ability to turn the tables.
That size comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
No, he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like Terence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like hands down. Like just mass as far as mass. He naturally that thick. You know, he got to come down. Terence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that. That's like putting a dude Benavidez as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight though. So Canelo was by far the bigger man. We didn't seen him hit. We didn't seen him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like he didn't hurt Kovalev light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev,
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did he?
nah, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might have only fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up at light heavyweight, but he been at super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he got to hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect. He got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't do that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up regardless, right?
Tom Loeffler takes a different perspective, setting aside the debate about fairness and instead highlighting the sheer spectacle of Canelo versus Crawford. From a promoter's standpoint, he views this as one of the most marketable fights in modern boxing. Both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are global stars, each commanding loyal fan bases that stretch across nations, cultures, and demographics. Loeffler points out that matchups of this scale go beyond the sport itself, capturing mainstream attention and pulling in casual viewers who might not typically watch boxing.
Actually being in the ring on such a high-profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that, and you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. Callum, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing named families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Colin Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to this sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, the fighting public who does not know Callum Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially by fight night.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh has been credited as the driving force behind making Canelo versus Crawford a reality. While many acknowledge that his influence and financial backing have turned dream fights into reality, critics argue that not every matchup he delivers is the right one. In this case, skeptics point to the clear size disparity, suggesting Crawford enters the fight at a built-in disadvantage. They believe the bout was made more for spectacle and global demand than for pure competitiveness. Still, Al-Sheikh's impact is undeniable. Without him, this fight likely wouldn't exist. His ability to unite two of boxing's biggest stars underscores his power in shaping the sport's modern era. Right fight or not, his vision ensures fans worldwide will witness a true once-in-a-generation event.
Benavidez Jr., Canelo, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch, and this is a joke, and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying, that Turki Al-Sheikh dreamed of, and we know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the bag to make this fight happen. It doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man. You guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, yeah, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, nobody in the world I felt could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. Terence Crawford is nowhere, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And I've had some comments talking about, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, bro, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Majumov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against Errol Spence.
Trainer Dave Coldwell has long praised Terence Crawford's versatility, and he believes those attributes will be crucial against Canelo Alvarez. Crawford's comfort in switching between orthodox and southpaw gives him a rare advantage, allowing him to create angles, disrupt rhythm, and constantly keep opponents off balance. Coldwell highlights Crawford's exceptional footwork as another key weapon, enabling him to glide in and out of range while avoiding traps. This mobility, he argues, is especially important against Canelo, who excels at cutting off the ring and applying pressure. If Crawford can maintain space, use lateral movement, and stay off the ropes, Coldwell believes he can win rounds and possibly the entire fight. For him, the contest won't come down to raw power, but rather to discipline, ring intelligence, and movement.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what and he can pop. I mean, listen, he might. I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.